usual, guys. Probably busy and
All right, good afternoon, traders. It's Friday. It's March 27, 2026. My name, Coach Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Special shout out to all the people in the room here that made money. Congrats to all of you. I'm happy for all of you. Thank you for sharing your wins. Appreciate that. Love that. That makes me feel like what I'm doing seems right. All right, so special shout out Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, Rick Sadler, Ed Carter, everybody that shares my content. I love that. I appreciate that. That does not go unnoticed. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's take a look. I made 4K today with a 61K account, only using 10% of the account. Let's take a peek. Let's just move this out of the way for right now. Last time it didn't turn on, so I wanted it up there. All right, so the news this morning. I plan to wait and trade a continuation of the SPY 10-minute downtrend. It's the same downtrend we had in the pre-market. Down to the first target of 640, second target 635, third target 633. So it was a boom, boom, boom day, all right? It was a big win. It was a nice win. It was prepared for that win. Just had to stick with the plan all day long. That's it. I gave traders trading plans at the beginning of the day. If you didn't even if you didn't like my plan, John Jordan in the room here, he shared his plan. I got it here somewhere. I know I just had it because I was just posting it on my X account. So here's John's plan early in the morning. Okay, here's John's trade below. Looks like 568.17. All right, below that on the QQQ. That's a sell below there. So let's go take a peek at that real quick. Let's push this over. We don't need all this right now. We'll get into that later. All right, so let's push this down. Oh, and there goes my charts. QQQ. All right, so you can see John had the line of action, which was 568 right there. 17 was your line of action. You can see you got a 10-minute downtrend with a pullback and test, and then you got a 10-minute downtrend. All right, that never let up. You've got daylight. See the daylight between the 3 and the 8. You've got daylight the whole way down, okay? The 3 doesn't cross the 8. There's a reason I choose a 10-minute downtrend, all right, because it lasts longer. Because if you'd have got the 5-minute downtrend, it would have closed out or pinched off right here, and you wouldn't have got all of this, all right? So there's a reason I choose the 10-minute downtrend. It's not an abstract number. It's a fact that these 10-minute trends can sometimes last all day. Let me give you a case in point. Here's the downtrend from yesterday. 10-minute downtrend all day. All day. Even all day, all night. Right there, okay? So there's a reason for the 10-minute downtrend, because it lasts longer and it tends to go further. All right, so there's the QQQ. Here's John's plan right there. Sell below 568.17. Beautiful setup right there. There's the line of action, this green one right here. Okay? Sell below that. And there it is, 10-minute downtrend, taking you right into the close all the way down to 561, 562. All right? He posts this in the room every day. All right? Well, every day that he's here, for a fact, okay? So he shares it in the room so that everybody can profit. All right? Not just him, not just me. He shares it so everyone can profit. So there it is. There's one trading plan. There's another one right here. I got a QQQ plan as well. Right here. Red erases green. Sell below 573.14. Just look for that 10-minute downtrend and jump in. All right. So there's another trading plan that worked on the QQQ. Let's take a look at the SPY. Here's another one. Red erases green below 644. It's red erases green because here's the low of day from yesterday. We bounced up to 650 in the Asian market and in the European market up there. All right, and then we came back down. So that was the red erases green right below there. Okay, right below 645. And you can see we went from 645, well, way down here to 633.14. How about that? All right, so back to what was the plan again this morning? Let's just review it because it's so darn right. I want everybody to see it, okay? Oh, it's 640. Did we hit 640? Oh, heck yeah, we hit 640 right here. Right out of the gate, we zoomed right down to 640. What's the next part? Target 2. Let's take a peek at that one. Okay? All right? Oh, it's being tricky. Here we go. I got you, buddy. All right, next one was target 2, 635. Third target, 633. Okay, so here's your 635. You can see price goes through it. And 633, well, we did not hit 633 on the number, but I'll bet you dollars to donuts they're going to hit it in the post market. All right, so here we are, 633. We got all the way down to 633.18 right there. Okay, so beautiful 10-minute downtrend. That's on SPY. What did I trade? Puts. Puts, lots of puts. All right. It was a put day. All right. That's all I traded was puts. And I said it right here at the beginning. I'm going to wait. I'm going to trade a continuation of the SPY 10-minute downtrend down to target 1, 2, 3 right there. Now, let me just say this. Today was a really beautiful day. You don't always get target 2. You don't always get target 2 and 3, okay? That's what makes today so special, all right? Sometimes you just get target 1 and it's a one-target day. That's it. Today was beautiful. We went to target 2 and target 3. And by the way, traders, if you're out there and it's your first time seeing this, markets are bearish, okay? Just saying, all right? They're bearish right now on the short time frame, all right? So let's zoom out of there. Let's go to the 10-minute. Oh, look there. Targets today are 640. That was posted up there for everybody in the room. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. We don't need that anymore. That's history. All right, so let's take a look at the game plan here on the 10-minute. So on the 10-minute chart, see right here, 10-minute chart. You got the 3 and the candlesticks plotting below the 8 EMA, everything pointed down. You got daylight between the 3 and the 8, so we have a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. You know what I plan on trading on Monday? Yeah, a continuation of the 10-minute downtrend. Okay, the same thing I planned on doing after yesterday's 10-minute downtrend. Okay, so on the 2-hour chart, we've got, you can see the candlesticks and the 3 are riding underneath the 8 EMA, everything pointed down. You've got daylight between the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA. All right, so we have a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. On the daily chart, we've got a lower high, a lower low. We're closing under a bearish trap. Okay, see this line right here? Okay, that right there is not the line I'm looking for. It is, I've got it written down here. This, I think it was close to 627 is our 33% line. I know I have it here somewhere. Yeah, I probably erased it. Oh, here it is. All right, the 33% retracement right here is 627.25. Okay, now as long as they're in the upper third, all right, on the quad lines right here. Just going to put this up here and get it out of the way. As long as they're in the upper third, they're bullish. That's in my book, all right? That's the way that I trade. That's the way that I view, all right? So you can see lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, closing, that was useless, closing underneath the falling 17. You see these red dots? That's the 17 EMA. Okay, so see how it's falling? See how that's falling? The 8's falling, the 3's falling. Heck, the price and the candles are falling. Okay, so we're now underneath quadrant 4. Okay, so we're in quadrant 3. Okay, we're still in the upper third of the whole move. Okay, starting from the April low, clear up to the all-time high right there, and they made several new all-time highs along the way. But that's the latest and greatest is up there. Okay, so this is closing in the upper third. So we're bullish, but we're clearly in a downtrend. Okay, why? Because we're making lower lows and lower highs. So bullish, but still in a downtrend. If we breach the 627.25 area, we're going to be in neutral territory. So then it will no longer be bullish. It'll be just neutral. And then we will look to see if the bulls are going to stage a rescue plan to rescue the price action and bring it back up into the upper third. Okay? So that's what we'll be looking for when price scoots down there to 627.25. Okay? So there's SPY on the daily chart, weekly chart. Again, here's our April origin of our move up over to the right. We've got a low. We made a lower low, so we're in a downtrend on the weekly chart too. Okay, on the monthly chart, we're still in an uptrend because we haven't made a lower low. So we're bullish and in an uptrend on the monthly chart. Okay, let's take a look at QQQ. And we'll start with the 10. Okay, again, you can see the sticks and the 3 are riding underneath the 8. Okay, now, point to note is whenever you see candlesticks obscure the space between the 3 and the 8, that means a reversal or how do I say it? A bounce is coming soon, all right? That's what I look for. Okay, whenever you see this area between the 3 and the 8 get crowded like that, probably going to get a bounce. And you're getting close to 560, so you may see a bounce soon, all right, in that area, okay? So that's what I look for. But anyways, forget that for a minute. You've got 10-minute downtrend. You've got daylight between the 3 and the 8, okay? You've got everything's pointed down. The sticks and the 3 are plotting below the 8, and they're all plotting below the falling 17, and they're all plotting below the falling VWAP right there. So 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. On the 2-hour chart, you can see the sticks and the 3 plotting underneath the 3, underneath the 8, underneath the 17. So you get daylight between the 2, 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. Daily candle, lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish trap. You can see the 3 is riding under the 8, so that's a bearish trap. Okay, on the quad lines, you can see we're all the way down here. I'm just going to give it to them. They're still bullish, but in a downtrend, all right? I probably shouldn't. I could measure it off right now. You have to change one product. I changed this to 33. Okay, so that's the 33% mark right there. So they're still bullish. They got pretty good eyes. So they're still bullish, but obviously in a downtrend. Okay, you can see us closing underneath quadrant 4. Underneath, see the pink line? All-time high anchored VWAP. Underneath the falling 17. Underneath the uptrend line right through there. Okay, but we're still in the upper third, so we're bullish, but in a downtrend. Weekly candle. Okay, still bullish because we're in the upper third, origin of the move back here in April, up to the all-time high. Okay, still bullish, but in a downtrend, just like the daily chart. Bullish and in a downtrend. Monthly chart. Okay, so we're still bullish, but we haven't made a lower low, so we're still bullish and in an uptrend on QQQ monthly chart. All right, let's take a look at IWM. And we'll hit that up on the daily chart. I think everybody got a lower high and a lower low. They closed under a bearish cross, under the falling 17, under the pink line, That's the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, they're still in the upper third, so they're bullish. All right, but they're in a downtrend because they're making lower highs and lower lows. That's IWM. Okay, notice they came down to just about the 33% line. Right here, see it? 33. And they bounced. They actually got down there in the pre-market, post-market. You didn't see it, but then they ripped. All right, so there's IWM on the daily chart. They bounced off the 33% line. Okay, so there's IWM. Again, bullish, but in a downtrend, making lower lows and lower highs. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Lower high, lower low. Guess what? We're neutral. All right, on Diamond Dow. See, we're no longer in the upper third. Lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish trap. Okay, you can see the daylight between the 3 and the 8. 3's riding underneath the 8, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so we're neutral and in a downtrend right there. Price closing underneath that falling 17. Neutral and in a downtrend. Let's take a look at Stinker. Stinker got a lower high, lower low, closed under a bearish trap under the falling 17. No longer in the neutral zone. It's actually in the bearish zone. It's in the lower third. So that's bearish. Closing underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP up there. Closing under the midpoint. That would be the 50-yard line. Okay. Bulls would have control if we were above the 50-yard line. Bears would have control if we're below the 50-yard line. Okay. So we're obviously in bearish control. So we've got lower highs and lower lows. See the high there? Got a lower high. See the low there? We got a lower low. So lower highs, lower lows. We're in a downtrend and we're bearish. All right, right there, because we're in the lower third. Okay, this happens to be the all-time low. This happens to be the all-time high right there. So we're dealing with all of that right now. So bearish and in a downtrend on Stinker on the daily chart. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold, precious metals. All right, got a bear flag showing down here on silver, probably one on gold too. Got a higher low, a higher high, closed inside a bearish trap under the falling 17. See the red dots? That's the 17. Closed under the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's a pink line. So we're clearly not. I'm going to zoom way out. We're clear. I'm going to zoom way, way out. Okay, so this is the origin of our move, 2022, right here. Okay, all right there. So we're clearly not in the lower third, not in the upper third. So we're neutral, all right? And we're making lower highs and lower lows, so we're in a downtrend right there. That's silver. Let's take a look at gold. Okay, gold bear flagging as well, all right? So higher low, higher high, closed inside, see the daylight, a bearish trap. Under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Yes, we are in the upper third. All right, so we're bullish, but clearly in a downtrend as well, and in a bear flag. All right, that's gold. I'm going to pan way out so you can see the full picture. Okay, this is the rally from the 2022 low. All right, and that gave us our all-time high right there. So that's gold. Let's take a look at USO. All right, here's USO. USO, by the way, if they break out of this, they have the potential to get to 183. All right, that's my target up there. It's my unwritten target. All right, so I'm expecting a breakout to occur probably within a few days. We'll see what happens. All right, maybe they have to consolidate right on the top of this line right here before they break out. We'll see what happens. Anyways, beautiful day for USO. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap. Closing over, look at the rising 17. Closing over, this is a 4-year high anchored VWAP. This pink line, they're leaving it in the dust. Okay, this originates in that post-COVID rally. That's the high generated from the post-COVID rally right up there. Okay, so you can see here's the origin of that move. Starts in 2023 right there. There's our low. There's our new high. That's not the all-time high. If you want to see what an all-time high looks like, Yeah, it's way back there. Okay, so that is the high for the last 4 years. Okay, back on the daily chart here. Okay, I don't know how that got on there. Somehow it snuck on there. Let's try this one more time. And put that in back. Okay, that should work. Okay, I'll have to drag it back to... Oh, wait. Right there. Okay. So we're bullish and we're in an uptrend. You can obviously see we're at the top of quadrant 4. See the top of quadrant 4? So that's bullish. We haven't made any lower lows, so we're in an uptrend right there. USOs. Take a look at UNG. Okay, UNG on the daily chart. Let me pan out so you can see the full picture. Okay, this is a 1-year high. Okay, that's it. If you want to see what an all-time high looks like, okay, so we really set the bar really low, okay, for UNG, all right? I mean, it's like jumping over a matchbox, all right? Got the Hot Wheels on the floor. All you got to do is get over the Hot Wheels, okay, to be in the neutral land, all right? You can see how many times it's tried to make it over this 12-month high anchored VWAP. Multiple failure, 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 failure. They get up. They just can't hold the higher ground. They give up, and they give it up. Okay, so today's candle. Okay, so you've got the full picture there. One more time. Okay, 12-month high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. This is the all-time low right there. That is the all-time low set in January. Okay. Today's candle is a higher low, a higher high. We closed over a bearish trap, over the flat 17, under the 12-month high anchored VWAP. No surprise there. Okay, and we're in the lower third, so we're bearish. We're making lower lows and lower highs, so we're in a downtrend. So downtrend bearish on UNG. All right, let's take a look at T2101. So we melted off lower today, and T2101, look what we did. On the 15-minute chart, we lost more participation or market breadth right there. Okay, that's kind of a bullish sign if you don't know what I'm talking about, okay? What we don't want is price to melt down and everybody pile on, okay? Notice less interest in trading in the markets, okay? In other words, activity, all right, in the markets. So less activity as the market is pulling back, okay? So that's kind of a bullish sign if you know how to read the tea leaves from my perspective, okay? From yours, it might be a little bit different, but you can see it's getting thinner and thinner, which makes for a highly volatile market, and hence now we're no longer getting $3 and $5 days. We're getting $10 and $20 days. Okay, so there's T2101. All right, T2122. I'm going to pan out here. You can look back at the whole month of March. You can see for the majority of the time, this is a continuous line. We've spent most of it underneath this gold line, which happens to represent the difference between bulls and bears. Okay, this would be bullish control up here. This would be bearish control. So a whole lot of bearish control been happening all through March. Okay, you can see we had a series of higher lows. They blew that out of the water today, making a lower low. Okay, we had some higher lows here, 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 here. I had hope. We were making a double top here on the high. After making the double top, look what happened. Price came all the way down to the sell zone and the oversold zone. All right, so obviously more bearish control again. So I haven't seen the bulls show up yet. Okay, I haven't seen them in T2122. All right, T2101. Maybe they're lingering in there. I don't know. T2123. Here's a 15-minute chart. This is the all-time high up here. Okay, all-time high. All right, and if you look at that from the all-time high, all right, we're down here in quadrant 1. That's bearish. Anytime we're underneath the falling 200 SMA 15-minute chart, that would also be bearish. I would want it on the other side if I was going to be bullish. Obviously bearish. And you can see we've got a bearish gap down, not filled by the bulls, showing you weakness right out of the gate in the fact that the bulls can't close the gap by noon. All right, so you know you're looking for a 10-minute downtrend. T2123 making a low, making lower lows, obviously in a downtrend right there on T2123 15-minute chart. Let's take a look at the same product, okay, on the 3-bar chart. Okay, I'm going to pan out. There's April. This is the origin. Remember our rally in the indices, all right? The IWM, the Diamond Dow, the SPY, all of them all started off in April, okay? So we had an all-time high right here, and that was for 2024. Okay, so then we had a pullback, and there's the origin of our rally. We go up and we make a new all-time high. Pull back, make a higher low, and then rip to make a new higher high, a new all-time high for 2026. So we got a new all-time high in 2025. We got a new all-time high in 2026. Okay, we're still up here in quadrant 4, so there is hope. All right, but we're in a downtrend. Okay, so that's the all-time high. You see we're still in quadrant 4. You got lower lows right through here, so we're in a downtrend. We're under the rising 200 SMA. Again, not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. Currently, I happen to be a bear. All right, T2123. I would expect this to come down here and test maybe the top of that head and shoulders over here, and maybe bounce back up into quadrant 4. We'll see what happens. All right, but things are kind of looking like they're melting fast here. Okay, so there's T2123. That is still bullish, but obviously in a downtrend right there. Let's take a look at Stinker on the 15. Okay, another bearish gap down, Stinker right here. Okay, see how there's space or daylight. See daylight between the prior day's candles and the current day's candles. Same thing. Daylight between those candles, these bars, price bars. And you can see we're making lows, we're making lower lows. There's no highs over the 17 for a long time. All right, so we're underneath the falling 200 SMA. All right, that's where you want to be if you're a bear. You're underneath the all-time high anchor VWAP. That's the pink line. If I take it off the all-time high, slap the quad lines in there, you can see we're clearly at the bottom of quadrant 1. So that's bearish, all right? And obviously making lower lows, lower highs in a downtrend right there. That's Stinker on the 15. US dollar index. Let's take a peek at it. Here's the 2025 high. We're in a daily downtrend, and we go into this 6-month bear flag right through there. See that? You know what we broke? We broke major support. All of these valley lows represent the structure of major support. Okay? Ever since, for 6 months, we've been trying to get back up in there, but now this acts, which was once support, now acts like resistance. All right? See how we go up there and we get crushed. We failed. Double top, crushed again. And we're back up there this time, but we're not leaving the area. So there's a possibility we break in to that area one more time. We'll see. Currently, you've got lows. There's a higher low right there. Low. There's a higher low. Okay, you've got a high right here. We're making higher highs. So this is an uptrend on the US dollar index right there. All right, if you want to see how I made money today, let's take a look at this chart, and let's push this over. All right, and let's take a look at, you can see it's all puts. All right. All right, it was kind of like a no-brainer day. You got the 10-minute downtrend. You know, you buy the puts. Okay? Put. See that? Nothing but puts. This was a put spread. All right? And I captured, you can see it captured about a K on that one. All right? And that was a multi-day. You can see 14 days till expiration. Multi-day spread right there. Okay, you can see on this one, all right, you can see I buy the lows, Okay, remember, a put will go up in value as price comes down and gets closer and closer to the strike, or gets closer or gets further and further in the money, okay? As it gets further and further in the money or closer and closer to the strike price, the value of the put goes up. So I'm picking off the lows of my put candles down here, okay? So I like to buy the lower third, all right? That's my strategy. I shoot to buy the lower third, all right? That's how I get my fills. I put my fills, I line them up like a grid, almost like a net, and let price like kind of drop into my net, and then I kind of catch it like a Venus flytrap, you know? And then as price goes up, you see where it rips up, all right? I sell into strength. Okay, option strength, not market strength, but option strength, okay? The puts will have option strength when the market has, you know, weakness right there. And you can see right there how I'm like ripping these tops off these candles right there. Okay, so I'm selling into strength, picking off the lows and selling into strength. So there's SPY right there, okay? This was another put spread right here. You can see I lost a little bit of money on that one trying to negotiate it. Made some money here on this one on the long side. Okay, puts again made 100, picking off the lows, selling the highs. Another one, I probably had this from the earlier day and it was zero, so I figured, well, I'm not going to mess around with it. It's way up over my price. The sweet spot for me is 30 cents to $1.20. You can see this was $20, so that's like way out of my range. So I mean, just took profit on that one right there. So that's it. This is all I got left is FLNG. All right, that's it for right now. So I'm going into the weekend, just holding this long. That's all I've got. All right, traders, that's it. Let me see if you guys got any questions. You lost me. All right, I'm back. Hey, John, I did record it, so I will put the recording up here, and I will put the recording up here in the alerts. And thank you for printing. Oh, here we go. All right, see, here's the results from John's trade. Thank you for sharing with us, John. Okay, so here's John's results right there. You can see market got that 10-minute downtrend right there. And you got to trade that all the way down to 562, 561, and some change down there. Okay, so another trade plan that worked. Okay, if you don't like my trade plan, you can take his, and that works just as well. Thank you, John. All right, so that's it for me. All right, everybody have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you all on Monday. Thank you for hanging out with me today. All right, glad you made profits. One of the traders in here had, I'm just going to say, a rocky morning. All right. And guess what? He got up out of his chair and he went for a walk and he walked around for a little bit and then he collected his thoughts and he came back to the chair and he made everything that he lost, and it was about 2 or 3K, all right, for a trading day. So he winds up coming back to making it all back plus his daily goal. All right? What a fabulous day. What a beautiful recovery, all right? And I just want to say congrats to him. That takes a lot of discipline to get up, walk away, collect your thoughts, come back, find the trend, and nail it. all right, to come back. So way to go. All right, thank you, everybody. You all have a beautiful weekend. Thank you. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'm honored you guys chose me to lead you in your journey. I appreciate that. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you.